morning. It's lovely to see so many names on the screen and also some pictures at the bottom of the screen. I'm here to say congratulations on graduation. So sorry that we won't be seeing you in person, but we hope that one day we'll see you all formally or informally at some event or other. And what we're going to do is we're going to have an informal departmental event from now until about 12:45. And then I encourage you please to join the main formal college graduation event, for which you will have received an invitation, which will kick off at about 1 o'clock. So there'll be a short break in between. So again, welcome back to the department. Lovely to see so many of you. We're going to start with a presentation from our former head of department and former principal of the Faculty of Engineering and former deputy rector, who's Stephen Richardson. And then I will do the prize giving. Again, unfortunately, it's a virtual prize giving, unlike in previous years. And then we'll move over to the main graduation event. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Stephen Richardson, and he's going to give a short presentation. Thank you, Stephen.
Sorry, I'm just trying to share my content. There we are.
Looks promising. Yep, it's
Thank you very much. You can see that, can you? Good. And can you hear me?
We can hear you nice and clearly.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed for that very kind introduction, Nile. It's a great pleasure to be back, so to speak, in the department and to see so many familiar faces and to see lots of names of your graduates there. There are only 8 slides. It's going to take a quarter of an hour or thereabouts. It may seem longer, but bear with me and we will get to the end. The first slide there is an aerial view of Imperial, of course, and you can see the Queen's Tower, and behind that Kenenge, and behind that the Albert Hall, nearly circular, where you might normally have been graduating at various different times. And as Nile says, I know the college hopes that at some point you'll be able to have a proper formal graduation ceremony there. Of course, COVID has changed a lot of things, and we're going to see a little bit about that. I'm going to give you a little moment about possibly the most important subject in my life, which is me. And that's a short history of me after I left school up to about the present. And you can see that Imperial College figures very highly in everything I've done. I have, of course, travelled the world. Well, I've been to Cambridge as a research assistant, and I'm now the Institution of Chemical Engineers president. But otherwise, my career was solidly based at Imperial College. As an undergraduate, and the top right-hand photograph shows me on the 1st of October 1969, when I came as a fresh-faced 17-year-old. And then the photograph down at the bottom shows me shortly before I retired, now needing glasses, wearing a tie at last, and with much less hair. One thing that Nile has already mentioned is that I was his predecessor as head of department, not his immediate predecessor. There have been now 10 heads of department in the chemical engineering department, starting with Professor Bone, the longest lived, so to speak, 24 years there, and then moving left to right in the photographs and down the page. And you can see Nile there at the bottom right, and myself 2 across from him on the left there. The photograph up at the top shows the Titanic, and I know other people may have mentioned this to you before, but I'm going to mention it to you now. And that is, we very nearly didn't have a chemical engineering department, and we very certainly didn't have Professor Bone, because Professor Bone was about to give a lecture tour in New York and was booked on the maiden voyage of the Titanic and was offered the job as Professor of, I think, Fuel Technology here at Imperial. And he accepted just in time, cancelled his booking, and became the head of the future chemical engineering department. Just as well, because otherwise it's not obvious that he would have survived, clearly, and certainly not obvious that the department would have survived. My career at Imperial College was sort of topped and tailed by the Queen. She did it personally for me, you might think. In 1969, when I came as a fresh-faced undergraduate, I registered in the then registry in the Sheffield building. And as I finished signing up and getting my union card, the registrar, Mr. Latter, said, he's about the right size, he'll do. And with that, I was ushered into a gown to check it fitted okay. And a few days later, when the Queen, shown in the left-hand photograph in the middle there, came to open the main Sheffield building, then called College Block, I had to stand by one of the lifts and make sure the doors did not shut on the Queen as she got in. That would have been a great faux pas. To her left and on the right of the photograph is the then rector, Bill Penny, rather a large figure in Britain's earlier nuclear days. And to her right, on the left of the photograph, is the president of the Students' Union, one Piers Corbyn. And some of you may be slightly more familiar with his brother, the former leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn. On the right, very nearly, just a few months before I retired, I was amazed, delighted, all sorts of words like that, to be awarded a CBE for services to chemical engineering, education and safety. And you can see me there standing and receiving the medal from the Queen with a beefeater to make sure I behaved okay. The Queen on that day there stood there for 80 minutes and did roughly 80 of us. She had no notes. She did it all perfectly. She got the odd murmur from an equerry standing behind her, but she did the whole thing, aged 83, for 80 minutes. I doubt I could do it for 10 minutes. A really wonderful feat and a really memorable day. I'm getting off me shortly. I think that may be the last photograph of me, so you'll be all right shortly. I've done a lot of teaching in Chem-Eng. Some of you who've graduated with M-Engs may even have had a lecture from me as part of the safety course, but I've taught lots and lots of courses in the department. That's just some of them, they're the big ones there. Two I've particularly highlighted because I enjoyed them even more than many of the rest, though I actually enjoyed all my teaching immensely. The problem solving course was a first year course, and some of you who've been undergraduates will have been through that. And that shows me in one of the design offices. And you can see, you can tell if you know that my grandmother was French, because I do a lot of waving of my hands. At the moment, I'm very carefully folding them by my side so they don't get in the way of the camera, but I tend to teach by waving my hands around. And I've really always enjoyed that sort of group interaction. I enjoy giving lectures, but I more enjoy group work, tutorials, these sort of design projects, labs and that sort of thing, because that's when I've got to know lots and lots and lots of students, many of whom I still keep in touch with. The other course I've highlighted there is the Safety and Loss Prevention course. It was the last lecture course I gave, and I still give the odd lecture on that. And the picture there, of course, is Flixborough in 1974. And Flixborough marked a real change in how chemical engineers perceive safety, and indeed how the UK perceives safety, and then how the world perceives safety. And it seems to me that this is one of those areas where, as graduates of the department, whether M.Eng, MSc, PhD, whatever, it's about our contribution to society and what we give back. One thing we can give back is any of our work must be safe. And one of my greatest satisfactions has come from the large number of students for whom this safety course is where the course suddenly became real, because every bit of Chem-Eng suddenly came together and you could see how it mattered, but you could also see how the law mattered, economics mattered, ethics matter, and that sort of thing there. And I'm delighted that actually quite a large number, many tens of students have gone on around the world to become safety professionals, and they are serving society. They are making society a safer place. I've done various bits of work on safety because towards the end, safety was my main research area. And that meant I investigated a lot of accidents. All of the ones here are big ones. In all of them, somebody died. In some cases, many, many, many people died. And I learned an immense amount from investigating these things here. And I thought that was useful when I was teaching the safety course later on. I won't go into all of the various accidents there, but they've all been ones that have provided significant lessons. The ones on the right are Piper, and for those of you who've been unfortunate enough to have to listen to my talk on Piper Alpha, you may remember that that's when the first big gas riser goes, and the gas is coming out of there at about 3 tons a second. which I might remind you is about 1.5 times the rate at which the UK uses gas. So that is an immense fire. The other one's down at the bottom left in Qatar was the first one I investigated. The second one is Ocean Odyssey, which was a small-scale precursor of Deepwater Horizon, a gas kick ignited and so on there, but nowhere near as serious consequences. And then there's Longford there, and then finally on the right-hand side, Roncador, offshore Brazil. And the reason why I always include that one there is, although there was an explosion, the thing that sank the oil rig was its own safety system, because the initial explosion ruptured the fire mains, so the fire pumps kicked in and flooded the whole thing with water. So it was actually sunk by its own safety system. But it's these contributions to actually understanding how the world works and actually making society a better place that I want to stress. So I shall get onto my penultimate slide, which is to give you some challenges, because as chemical engineers, graduates of Imperial College, you are amongst the top people in the world. You've had, if I may say so, a very fine education from some excellent colleagues. And I think a lot of you will find some really challenging, in the best sense of the word, challenges in the rest of your careers, wherever you happen to be. And I've put 4 pictures there, which I whizzed off the web recently. Of course, top left is a COVID mock-up. I'm not sure it actually looks like that, but nevertheless, COVID is going to be an important, and related diseases are going to be important to us as antibiotics become less effective. And I'm really delighted how much chemical engineers have contributed already to the production of some of the vaccines, production of some of the PPE, how you actually make sure everything is clean and sterile there. I think disease generally is going to be an important aspect for chemical engineers. Moving to the top right, I've got some pictures of some clouds as a kind of shorthand for greenhouse gases and climate change. If you think COVID was big, I still think climate change is going to be bigger still. We need to do a lot of work to actually make that, to ameliorate that and to get it right. And as chemical engineers, you will have major contributions to make. It's not just a chem-eng problem. You will be working with other people, other engineers, but also lawyers to get it right. There'll be ethical considerations there. How do we actually do this? There are some big, interesting challenges there. Coming down to the bottom right, water. One of my proudest boasts is that chemical engineers and civil engineers have saved more human lives than doctors, that is medical doctors, for the simple reason that providing clean water and getting rid of dirty water at the end keeps more people out of hospital than ever go into it. So keeping water clean is going to be quite important. I suspect it's going to be much more important than fuel. And then finally, bottom left, I've put a little photo of digitalization there, just to say that I've seen some of the early stages of digitalization in the world. I think you're going to see some really big changes coming up there that I won't even understand. I won't even know what the problem is, let alone why something is a particular solution. But it is going to make some big changes. And I think all of you are going to play big parts in that, whether as chemical engineers or whatever your chosen profession. My final slide. This is the inside of the Albert Hall. This is actually a postgraduate celebration here in 2009, I think. And this is where you might have been and where you might still be able to be in future. I have had a really exciting career, and I think you're going to have some really exciting careers. And I've been very grateful for everybody who made that happen. Normally what I would do at this, and I have shaken hands on these occasions here with sometimes nearly 2,000 students. I have no voice left by the end and my hand very nearly fell off. But when I've had to do all the engineers, all the scientists, I never did the medics. It was important to thank everybody who actually led to you graduating like this. I've already mentioned the staff in the department and more generally in the college, and I think they deserve thanks. But one particular group that I do think deserves thanks is your friends, your families, all the people who supported you through your degrees. And had you been in the Albert Hall, I would have invited you to thank them personally by applauding. But if you're sitting at home with them now or you're in contact with them shortly, I think you should thank them for everything they have done to get you to this happy stage. I'm going to conclude with a one of you started already. Right, I'm going to end with a favourite story of Lord Kerr. Lord Kerr, John Kerr, was the chairman of the governors of Imperial College, that's the council. He was the man who actually drafted Article 50 of the EU legislation, so you may have mixed views about him. But he, as chairman of the council, used to give the final speech at a graduation ceremony like this. And his favourite story, which he repeated time after time, and I'm just going to steal it because I quite like it, concerns the German romantic poet Heinrich Heine. Heine was once asked, if the world was about to end, where would you like to be? And Heine replied, after a moment's thought, I'd like to be in London, because London is always 100 years behind the times. And with that, and if you have been, thank you very much for listening. And now I shall hand back to Nile. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephen. And that was a lovely whistle-stop tour of your time in the department, and also the excitement that we all have in the educational process and seeing our students grow. So what I'm going to do following that is I'm going to kick off with the prize giving. So again, welcome back to the virtual graduation. So sorry not to have you here in person. And a reminder that at 1 o'clock, you should follow the link provided by the college to join the main graduation event. So unfortunately, those of you who have only just joined will have missed the talk by Stephen Richardson, but it will be available as a recording, and Margaret will make the recording available to all of you. So welcome back to the department. I would like to kick off with the prize giving. So normally we have two lots of prize giving. We have an undergraduate prize giving in the October graduation ceremony, and the postgraduate prize giving in the May graduation ceremony. But this time around, we're gonna do them both together. And so I'm going to kick off with the undergraduate prizes. And first up, winner of the Roger Sargent Prize is Hassan Al-Sherbaz. So Hassan, congratulations, and hopefully we'll see you in the department at some point in the future. Winner of the William Peck Book Prize is Ben Laws. Ben, I know that you've joined a spin-off company of the department, so you will continue to have a kind of affiliation with the department. And congratulations on the William Peck Book Prize. Next, we have the Shell Prize and also nominee for the Salters Award, Jack Leddingham. So Jack, congratulations. Hopefully you're on the line as well. I can't actually see all the names of who's on. Our next prize winner is the Ken Wheel Memorial Prize, and that goes to Tao Liu. So congratulations, Tao. The winner of the Henry Savistovsky Travel Fellowship is Anastasia Tech. Anastasia, many congratulations. The Lovelace Book Prize, this is a prize for the best work in the humanities, goes to Chloe Wong. So Chloe, congratulations, and it's nice to see people doing well in non-technical subjects. We now move to the MSc prizes. The Jeff Hewitt Prize for Best Overall Performance goes to Ben Lyons. So Ben, congratulations. The prize for Best Performance in the examination goes to Leticia Sanders de Almada. Leticia, congratulations on your excellent performance. The Research Project Prize, so prize for Best Performance in the Research Project, goes to Mengjia Zhu. So Mengjia, congratulations. Well done. We now come to the PhD student prizes. So the Dudley Newitt Prize for Experimental Excellence goes to Motaz Kawaji. Motaz, congratulations. The Dudley Newitt Prize for Theoretical or Computational Excellence goes to Selene Pirola. Selene, congratulations on that. The Julia Higgins Centenary Prize goes to Yutaka Aoki. Yutaka, congratulations. Well done. And the Townend Prize, which is for research in the field of energy, goes to Takeshi Kurotori. Takeshi, congratulations. Well done. The Felix Weinberg Prize goes to Govind Menon. Govind, congratulations. Great to see you winning this prize. So that concludes the prize giving. What I'd like you to do now is you can unmute your microphones and we can give a big round of applause to all of our prize winners. That's what we would be normally doing at this point. So please join me in congratulating